Hey everyone, Jared Hall here from Entertainment Weekly. We are coming to you from Comic-Con 2018, and joining me now is the man behind a show that I cannot wait for. It is an adaptation of a very popular podcast, Homecoming, and it will be on Amazon Prime. Sam Esmail, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this show, well, first of all, why did you decide to go with an unknown actress in your lead role?
You know, I just wanted to discover somebody, and you know, she just has this charm, and you know, I think I'm onto something.
You think
with her.
people will like
yeah.
it? Oh, her name's Julia Roberts, by the way, which is a really big deal because it's Julia Roberts' first TV series, and the fact that you got her. Congrats to you on that.
I mean, I'm still pinching myself. I don't know
sure.
how it happened, but I'm lucky that it happened.
Well, what was that first meeting like with her?
Well, it was over Skype.
Oh.
And it was because I was in New York and she was out here in LA, and it was like 2 weeks before my wedding. And I remember we talked about that a lot. She gave me some good advice to get through it. And then and yeah, she's just a fan of the podcast. Yeah. She was a fan of Mr.
Well,
Robot.
did that surprise you, though, even to begin with?
No, because the podcast is amazing.
Right.
The fact that she was a fan of my show and that she watched anything I did was like just blew my mind because, again, I'm just such a huge fan of hers. So, and yeah, and she loved the script that we had written, that the writers had written for the first episode, and she came on board.
Yeah. So this character, Heidi, she helps soldiers reacclimate to daily life after they come back from deployment. It's a very specific title, right? A homecoming transition support center caseworker. That'll take up the business card.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, she obviously hears a lot of very deep, emotional, dark stories, and a lot of the podcast is just she and one other character. So would you kind of call it, like, in many ways, it's kind of like a two-act play? You know?
Yeah, and
obviously approaching it very differently than what you're used to with Mr. Robot.
Right. Although we have our share of therapy sessions with dark storylines there too. But yeah, no, I mean that's part of actually the reason why, because I really wanted to keep the integrity of that from the podcast, and that's one of the reasons why this is a half-hour drama, because it kind of, you know, I actually love the half-hour drama format, but I remember this old show called In Treatment on HBO, which was just the entire episode is therapy sessions, and the reason why I think they did the half hour, made it a half hour, is because there is probably a tolerance level on how long you're going to watch two people, in a room talking. So we kind of kept that format the same. But it's just all in those scenes. It's just all about the performances, and when you have Julia Roberts and then Stephan James, who is just this amazing up and comer,
fantastic actor.
He's brilliant. I'm just sitting there watching the takes, and I sometimes forget to yell cut because I'm just so engrossed.
Yeah. Well, but so on the flip side, that great half hour, like you said, there's kind of maybe a low tolerance level for something so deep to watch like this. But you're used to having an hour plus. Sometimes you get with your episodes. So then, is there a challenge though in trying to contain everything in that half hour and really get to the meat of the drama and the heart of the storytelling?
Well, no, because I mean the other thing is that, and this is just because we're on Amazon, you don't necessarily have to worry about that because people can always come back, keep going into the next episode. But also the podcast, don't forget, was also written in that half-hour format, so, and that clearly worked. It worked on me, and it worked on several others. So I felt like maintaining that spirit was going to translate pretty easily.
So you maintain the spirit of the podcast, but you did not maintain the ending of the podcast, right?
No, I did
Season
not.
1 finale is a bit of a switch up because you did get a two-season order right off the bat.
Right.
So, so tell me how you then got to approach that. Do you go to the creators of the podcast? Like, what would have been your alternate ending?
Well, actually, the second season of the podcast had not been out when we started working on the TV show, and when I talked to Eli and Micah about it, I really felt like we needed to kind of diverge from the podcast and come and because we were translating it to a visual medium that offered its own changes. So yeah, the first season has a very different trajectory than the 2 seasons of the podcast.
See, that's it's a whole new level of intrigue for fans of the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast is kind of not very spoilery when you watch the TV show.
Gotcha. Cannot wait to see this series and Julia and Stephan. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.